Very good evening to all of you. Today's lecture. In today's lecture, there's a weekly current affairs session. So let's quickly discuss the topic. Now, the first is ESG funds. Some, in the last doubt session, some student asked me. So we'll go detail of that. Then, if you try to see, the first few topics are from economics. So lessons from Vodafone ruling. So this is a very old case, and we have taken this topic earlier. Also, I've taken this topic in the session. And so there's a case of retrospective taxation. So what is retrospective taxation? Kya hota hai? What are the issues? So we'll try to understand that. So I'll take slow in terms of explaining these concepts. Then 2nd October was International Non-Violence Day. Then in Maharashtra, there is a Maharashtra government has modified Forest Rights Act. So FRA has a history. So maybe ye bhi samjhaunga what is the history. Then language debate right now has started. So we'll some editorial and articles they discuss about the language in India. So we have Hindi speaking belt, we have Tamil speaking belt, we have Telugu speaking belt. So so one language. So this kind of discussions are going on. Then there was an article on India facing managing relations in neighborhood. So हमारे जो neighborhood में relationship है India का, why we have the complex relationship. Right now India has right now, right from the beginning, I would say that India has faced some of the other challenges in the, with the neighbors. So we'll discuss that. Then India-Myanmar bilateral ties. So this has been covered in international relations. So I'll discuss in detail the bilateral ties. Then आपने न्यूज में देखा होगा Armenia Azerbaijan clashes. So what is this other Armenia and Azerbaijan clashes? Okay, so again this is not important from an exam point of view, but still I'll just tell you in brief what that issue is. Then very important news about United Nations. So UN reforms, UN. Why we are discussing UN? Because 75 years of UN has happened, and UN came into existence in 1945. Okay, so in the last weekly current affair class, we discussed that history of UN. So the UN retreat from multilateralism. Okay, so what is multilateralism? We'll discuss that. Then we have Jal Jeevan Mission. That is an important topic. Then there's some science and tech news like astronomical observatory and all. Himalayan Chandra telescope. Then Cat-Q virus. Already we are facing the problem of virus. So across the whole India, we are witnessing challenges. The whole world, rather, I would say. So we'll discuss about this Cat-Q virus. Virus kya hai, and we'll go into detail of that. So let's quickly start with the first one, ESG fund. So what is the full form of ESG fund? ESG fund, Environmental Social Governance Fund. Okay, what are this? इसको समझने से पहले let's understand the concept of mutual fund. So what is mutual fund? So mutual fund is like a fund where you can invest. So it's a basically investment option. और इसको हम लोग we usually say it is a portfolio investment. कैसे वर्क करता है? I'll explain all that. Now remember, let's say you want to invest in the shares or you want to invest in the market. And what उस market को हम लोग क्या कहते हैं? The market is called the capital market. So let's say you want to invest in the market and that is called capital market. Now आपको कोई knowledge नहीं, you don't have no knowledge, you have zero knowledge about the stock market. A lot of people they they do R&D, वो अपना effort करते हैं and they gather knowledge, they become a regular investor, some of them become broker also, and that is how they gain understanding of the market को अच्छे समझते हैं and then they make investment. But a lot of people like you and me, we are involved in some other profession, but हमको market में invest करना हमारा interest है, we want to invest in the market, we want to earn income from the market. So purchasing a share or some other investment option becomes very challenging because हमको पता नहीं कि हमको कौन सा शेयर खरीदना चाहिए, कौन सा नहीं खरीदना चाहिए, because it is a highly dynamic process. Because market में आपका जो 100 रुपया है, it might become 1000 rupees also. That means you can have very high gain. you keep money in the bank in the FD, and that interest return is hardly 6%, 7 or 6.5%. In market, you can get 100%, 200%, 500%, 1000% also you can get return. Let's say, you might have purchased a company share at 10 rupees, and that share might become, 1000 rupees. It might happen. ऐसा हमेशा नहीं होता है, but it might happen. You might have started in a company जो पहला startup था, and today it has become big. So that could be a possibility. I'll give an example. Now, Just Dial. So you must be knowing Just Dial. It is so famous. Amitabh Bachchan does the ad of Just Dial. You know, in Just Dial, when the company started, Amitabh Bachchan invested around 5 lakh rupees, 5 to 6 lakh rupees in this company. And the share, and last, I mean, 2 years ago, his this investment, which was 5 to 6 lakh, it had, become in crores. It was equivalent to some 7, 8 crores. Can you believe that? You're investing 5 lakh rupees in 1 decade. It is becoming, maybe more than return 100%. You're getting some 800, 900, 1000% return. So this is an example where you can make investment and you can get good return. Now, do you think Amitabh Bachchan had the time to understand the market of India and invest? No, because Amitabh Bachchan, he hires experts. So there are portfolio managers. So aapka sara paisa, they manage the whole thing, and they invest as per their, understanding. They are the experts in the market. But let's say we can't hire such experts. हमारे पास इतना पैसा नहीं कि हम expert को hire करें and we give money to the expert and that money will invest, because these experts charge heavily. They might charge, maybe 1 or 2% of the return. So what we can do is that instead of investing in shares, we can invest in the mutual fund. हम mutual fund में invest कर सकते हैं. What exactly is a mutual fund? Now, mutual fund is nothing but it's a portfolio investment where आप एक ऐसा box मान लो, and in this box I put shares, share of company C1, share of company C2, और इसका मैंने एक mixture बना दिया. Now shares could be there, bonds भी हो सकते हैं इसमें. Bonds, पूरा जो market है वो बहुत complex होता है. There are multiple investment options. One is shares, other could be bonds. Bond is like giving loan to a company. So other could be bonds, bonds. Then we can have derivatives also. Derivative मतलब किसी का value किसी और से derive हो रहा है. So we have bonds, we have shares, we have debentures. तो हमने एक डब्बा बनाया and we put this company shares, bonds, everything, और इसका हमने एक portfolio बना लिया. And this portfolio, we divide. Let's say this portfolio is of, let's say, whatever 100 crore rupees. Now I divide this portfolio into units. हमने इसको units में divide कर दिया. And this is called NAV, net asset value. ये पूरा जो है NAV है, net asset value, और NAV को हमने units में divide कर दिया. Okay, we divided the NAV into units. And when you want to invest in the market, you can purchase. You can't. अभी आपको shares का invest knowledge नहीं है. So you can invest in the mutual fund, but you will purchase only units. Now maybe they have come with the 10 crore units, or maybe 1 crore unit. Okay, so which means that every unit is like 100 rupees. तो आप क्या करोगे? Instead of investing in the shares, you invest in the mutual fund. And mutual fund is a professionally managed fund. यानी ये जो companies के जो लोग होते हैं इसको manage करते हैं, it is a professionally managed fund. And hence, and they offer you, और वो आपको promise करते हैं, that we will get good return. आपको return, they kind of give you an idea that इसमें से आपको अच्छा return मिलेगा. But there's a risk also. There is a calculated risk also that you might face. So this is the concept which is there, and this is the mutual fund idea, that can be understood. But the derivatives, Debashish रहने दो, अभी derivatives हम देखेंगे. I'll explain when I'll teach capital markets, then I'll take derivatives. Okay, because derivatives थोड़ा complex हो जाता है. So we'll have a specific class, 2-3 lectures मुझे लगेंगे पूरा market समझाने में. So there we'll understand Debashish. Okay, don't worry. So this is the concept of mutual funds, and you can invest in the mutual fund. Now question is that in mutual fund is a investment option. आप invest करो. Now the mutual fund is managed by professionals who are day in day out involved in the process. They have good knowledge about the market. तो वो बस उनका क्या? They charge some, कुछ उनका charge होता है, minimum, जो भी company mutual fund है, they charge their, some kind of maybe brokerage charge करते हैं या छोटा सा commission charge करते हैं. and the mutual fund, maybe they can charge 1 or 2% of the whole investment on this. So whether you sell, whether you lose or you gain, you have to give that 1-2% to those people, and that is the concept. So you can invest in the mutual fund instead of investing the shares. आपको shares का knowledge नहीं है, तो आप invest, आप नहीं कर पाओगे. So these professionals, they come who understand the financial market, वो market को समझते हैं, they create funds and they say you invest in this fund, and they give the whole detail of the fund. आपको पूरा detail में समझाएंगे इस fund में है क्या, नहीं है, कैसा है. So so that you can make an informed decision. So mutual fund could be of multiple types. बहुत सारे multiple types जो है हो सकते हैं. And so this is where you can invest, like you and me can invest in mutual fund. And usually mutual fund gives you higher return than a banking. आप जो FD करते हो या any kind of investment that you're making, you get higher return in the mutual fund. So this is the concept of how the mutual fund operates. Now mutual fund could be of various types. तो ये ESG भी एक mutual fund है. Okay, so let's understand this mutual fund concept. ESG funds are witnessing growth interest in the Indian mutual fund industry these days. आप देखो कितना तेजी से exponentially growth हुआ है इधर. Okay, so what exactly are these? It means environment, social and governance factors to evaluate companies and countries on how far advanced they have, they are in terms of sustainability. आप एक कंपनी C1 में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हो, you want to invest in a company, but you don't know. So instead, वो C1 कंपनी का reputation is also very important for you. आपको चाहिए कि मैं ऐसी कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट करूं which is very responsible, which takes care of the shareholders properly, अपने shareholders का care करते हैं, which takes care of environment also. उनके जो practices होते हैं, they are environment friendly, they don't generate pollution, and even if they generate pollution, they might take measures to reduce pollution. So such are the companies. So you always want to see that मेरा investment ऐसी company में होना चाहिए which have certain parameters. So these companies, जिनका mutual fund यहाँ से निकलता है, which companies which focus on environmental, social and governance factors. So that is called ESG fund. So basically ESG investing is synonymous with sustainable investing or socially responsible investing. Now companies जो ESG fund जो बनेगा, it will be made from the companies who are following these basic principles. अगर मैं जैसे मान लो मेरी कंपनी है, so I will make sure that environment considerations are there in my company. My company does not generate pollution. My company has good business practices. My company is doing well for society. It has a social cause as well. If you remember, every company invest in the areas of responsibility, social responsibility. For example, कहीं वो school adopt कर लेते हैं. There's some adopt villages. Some Swachhta Abhiyan efforts are going on. So across the companies do this. So that could be social. Okay. The third is governance. Companies के जो internal practice है वो बहुत clean and transparent है. Okay. They take care of their shareholders. The people who are part of the company, whether the directors or executive directors or any people, they follow good ethical standard practices, and company fraud नहीं करेगी because of the legacy they have generated. So that kind of company में जो shares जिससे हम mutual fund बनाएंगे उसको हम लोग ESG funds बोलेंगे. While selecting the stock for investment, ESG funds shortlist the companies that score high on environment, social responsibility and corporate governance, and then look into the financial factors. तो पहले इन 3 factors, parameters पे they will look into consideration, and after that the finances takes part. Okay, now a company could be बहुत अच्छा कर रही है, company might be generating good income for normal shareholders, but remember they might be generating pollution, they might be they might have there might be some concerns. Okay, so it depends how you try to see this. So ESG fund ऐसा fund है जहाँ पे आप invest करोगे, but the companies are very responsible companies, and the money that you are investing are it is basically derived from companies which are involved in such practices. Okay, so scheme focus on companies with environment friendly practices, ethical business practices, employment friendly record. They imbibe the environment, social responsibility and corporate governance in their investing process. Okay, modern investors are re-evaluating traditional approaches and they look at the impact that the investment has on the planet. Yani you feel that I should take care of the environment, you feel that I should, my company, should be investing in such areas. My investment should be in such companies who are very responsible companies. So, that is where how, you people will be investing. For example, I might not invest in a company which is producing cigarettes. I might not invest in a company which is generated, which are involved in the alcohol. Okay, why? Because I feel that these, things are not good. They are bad for society. They have, they are pollution generating. Okay, I will not invest in a chemical company because chemical company generates a lot of pollution. So the investors are not only concerned about money, they might also have their other preferences, and that is how they invest. As a result of this paradigm change, asset managers have started incorporating ESG factors into investment practices. Companies with good ESG scores tick most of the check boxes for investing, tend to mitigate environmental and social risk, and tend to have stronger cash flows, lowering borrowing cost and durable return. So ये जो companies हैं यहाँ पे हमको invest करना है. Okay, so that is ESG funds. It is clear, everybody, guys? Everybody, is it clear to you all? ESG fund now. I hope the concept on the even on the mentoring session I discussed this part. Okay, fair enough. Now we'll go into the next topic, that is lessons learned from Vodafone ruling. Before understanding this whole ruling, let's understand the case. Now, Vodafone is a company which is UK based, okay, but it is an MNC, which means it has a global presence. Now, Vodafone came and there was a company called Hutch, okay. So Vodafone came and they invested in this company as a junior partner. Okay, and Hutch were owned by a very famous Ruya group. So they invested as junior partner and they brought FDI. Foreign se investment leke aa rahe hain, so they brought FDI. Now, what happened? Eventually, Hutch became, because of the investment, Hutch started becoming a big company. And slowly, you know, Vodafone started taking more shares of the Hutch. A time came where, Vodafone wanted to acquire the whole company, and the Ruya brothers who owned the Hutch, they sold the company to Vodafone. Now, when they sold the company, the whole selling process was done by a subsidiary of Vodafone. या जो वोडाफोन कंपनी का जो नीदरलैंड वाला जो ब्रांच जो यूनिट था, नीदरलैंड. So the subsidiary of the Vodafone, that Netherlands, they kind of invested and they tried to acquire the share of Hutch, which means Hutch was together with Vodafone. So basically, Hutch became Vodafone in short. Now, a lot of the sale happened, and the deal was of $11 billion, and this deal happened in 2007. Now, what they did, they used some legal loopholes and they tried to show that the purchase that they are doing, जो purchase कर रहे हैं, they are, they try to, misuse the international laws. Now, इसको misuse नहीं कहेंगे, it's like a, gap in the law which I use. So international, laws, and the sale was, it was shown कि वो sale India के बाहर हो रहा है. Sale was, is outside India. But remember, even though sale might happen outside India because of the legal ways, आपने, you're using, papers, but the actual business is in India. The government का जो real, the company का real business है, that is in India. Now, what government of India said that you should pay capital gains tax. आपको capital gains tax pay करना पड़ेगा. Now, what is capital gains tax? Let's say you purchase a house of 10 lakh rupees and you sold the house at 50 lakh rupees. Now, maybe you purchased the house in 2010 and now in 2020 the house is up to 50 lakh rupees. But actually the actual market price of the house is not 50 lakh but it is 30 lakh. Okay? यानी जो आपने हाउस परचेज किया है 10 लाख, इट इज एक्चुअली इन मार्केट इट इज ऑफ 30 लाख, बट यू पेड मोर, यू पेड 20 50 लाख। नाउ विच मींस आप इन दोनों डिफरेंस में देखो, यू विल सी दैट एक्चुअली यू हैव गेन 20, सो देयर इज अ कैपिटल गेन्स ऑफ 20, कैपिटल गेन्स of 20 lakh rupees here. Now, when you have a capital gains of 20 lakh rupees, in a legal term, legally, you're supposed to pay 20% of this to Government of India. You're supposed to pay 20% of Government of India, which means आप is 20 lakh का आप, you will pay 4 lakh rupees to Government of India. That is how it does. But normally in a normal situation, जब हम बेचते हैं, when we purchase or sell, we don't show the right price. हम क्या करते हैं? We try to hide things. We on paper the price is different, on on actually money that you're taking is different. So that is what, because we do not want to give the capital gains tax. But with the big companies are involved, for them everything is transparent. And that is where Government of India said that you should pay capital gains tax, and this capital gains tax was somewhere around 8,000 crore rupees. Now Vodafone refused. Vodafone said that, now Vodafone said, as per the legal law system, I'm not supposed to pay pay the tax. So what Government of India did here at this time of time, Pranab Mukherjee, who just died few days ago, he was the finance minister of India. He got very furious and he said that you should pay taxes. But इन्होंने refuse कर दिया. They went to court and High Court gave decision in the favor of Vodafone. Vodafone के favor में decision दे दिया. The Government of India was again furious. Government ने कहा कि नहीं, legally you should pay tax. This is a clear case of violation of legal laws, and you have used the legal loophole. और इन्होंने क्या किया? That Government of India in 2012 they changed the law. उन्होंने law में amendment किया. And in that amendment, what they did, that they brought a concept of called retrospective taxation. Now it's like when you go to when you go and do something, there's a rule, okay, and you take advantage of that rule. But retrospective taxation rule said it changed the law, and the law date was previous date. हमारा पहले का law है. They changed the law of tax law. So they amended the tax law, and they said that in such cases you have to pay taxes, and that is retrospective taxation. Retrospective मतलब जो date है वो पहले का हो गया. So they brought a date of 1962, and the sale happened on 7. The whole case was going on 12, which means that the law, now आप new law follow करोगे. The law when this legal deal happened was different, but I changed the law and I said that now law will be applicable from old date, which means under this provision जो अभी law हमने change किया है, और law देखो हमने पीछे का law change किया है. Law, I've changed the law of the previous date जो पहले already चल रहा है उसका. So this is a case of retrospective. Retrospective मतलब आप पीछे जा रहे हो and you are changing the law date, and hence that is applicable. And under this new law, the Vodafone should pay taxes of 800,000 crore to Government of India. अब ये जो पूरा लीगल प्रोसीडिंग चलता है, तो you not only pay taxes but you pay tax plus interest. आप इंटरेस्ट भी पे करते हो, पेनाल्टी भी पे करते हो. Okay, so they said that you have to pay the tax plus interest, and hence retrospective taxation is applicable. Now this retrospective taxation was brought into 2012, and that kind of made Vodafone very unhappy. And Vodafone फिर क्या हुआ? Vodafone went to the treaty. अभी देखो ये हमारा किस कंपनी के साथ हो रहा है, किस कंट्री के साथ हो रहा है? नीदरलैंड से हो रहा है. So India and Netherlands had signed a treaty, and treaty is about investment, and that is called bilateral investment treaty. So what government did, that government disregarded that treaty also, because you're changing the law and you're forcing the company to pay tax which was not there originally. आप originally वो tax नहीं था उस time पे, but you went and changed the law in the previous date. आपने law को पहले पीछे 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 वाले date से लगा दिया, and that is the concept of retrospective taxation. Okay. So that is the concept. So this is the concept of retrospective taxation. Now, Ankit has a question that when a company, is sold, that profit, when there is a profit, then only, tax will be paid. Well, it's like जो company का evaluation होता है, whenever you sell company to a new company, uh, you always have to show that, company has gained something. Company का हमेशा, because company is growing company. So on evaluation term, their, company का value बढ़ा है. And, whatever value has increased, that is called capital gains. And that is how you have to pay taxes. So this is applicable across the world. Okay. And this is called retrospective. This is called the capital gains tax. Up till here, everything is clear. Sabko clear ho gaya yahan tak? Any confusion? This part is clear to everybody because I need, you need to understand. If anybody has a confusion, they can let me know. They can type in. Okay, fair enough. So basically, अभी जो retrospective taxation law लगा दिया, that sent a very bad message, to the international firms and companies. So investor, फिर क्या हुआ? Now Vodafone went to international, body for case settlement under the bilateral treaty. Okay. So investor state dispute settlement. तो अभी इसका verdict आया है and it said that whatever was done, it was not done right, and hence government of India should not, will be, government of India should make sure, government of India should make sure that this should not happen. An investor state dispute settlement tribunal has ruled that India's imposition of tax liability 22,000 crore on Vodafone is in breach of India Netherlands bilateral investment treaty obligations. Okay, so ये 20% जो है capital gains tax, लगता है for all such cases. Now let's understand the background. I've already told you the story. Let's quickly understand. This case arose after Indian Parliament on 12 amended the Income Tax Act. As for the amended, income deemed to be accruing to non-resident directly or indirectly through the transfer of capital assets situated in India is taxable retrospectively with respect to April 1962. इन्होंने change कर दिया. Means any sale of asset is happening in India, you have to pay capital gains tax. This amendment was carried out to override the Supreme Court judgment ruling in favor of Vodafone. The amendment dented the India's reputation as a country governed by rule of law, shook the faith of foreign investors. So बहुत सारे foreign investors got unhappy because it's like, now let's say आपके current law में, in the current law there is a legal loophole. Now if there is a legal loophole, what will I do? I will try to take advantage of legal loophole, right? Now I'm a big company, I have a lot of money, I have resources. तो मेरे पास, so I will engage my lawyers, I'll engage my people and I'll ask, मैं पूछूंगा कि भाई, how can I save tax? So they might give me an idea. Okay, sir, do this and you will save tax. Sir, do this, you will save tax. Okay, so that is what these companies did. And but when the government of India felt that taxes should be paid, वो मना कर दिया उन्होंने. So this is the problem. Okay, so all the three organs of the Indian State Parliament, Executive, and Judiciary need to internalize the India's BIA, BIT, with the bilateral investment treaty and other international law obligations. So ये जो article आया है, this article says that government of India should learn from the Vodafone case and should not penalize, the companies in future. Legal loophole. Ankit has a question. What is a legal loophole? Legal loophole, here the legal loophole was that any company, मैं concept आपको economics में पढ़ाऊंगा, any company, now so Flipkart is an Indian company or it is a foreign company? Flipkart is an Indian company or it is a foreign company? Tell me. Indian. And what if I say that no, it is not Indian? Actually, it is registered in Singapore. It is registered in Singapore. Okay, so it is not Indian. So legally, it is not Indian. Legally, it is registered in Singapore. It has a presence in India. It has a presence in India. It has a subsidiary presence in India. Okay. Now, the point I want to make here is that now when Flipkart does any deal, the company say as a legal law, the government of law, income tax law say that even if the company might have registered outside, but if it has substantial business in India, अब उनका business India से आ रहा है, now the Flipkart might say that I am selling, Flipkart might sell a part of the unit to some other company and that deal is happening in Singapore. But remember, वो जो unit sell कर रहे हैं, actually it is based in India, in terms of business. So the substantial business, जो real business India में हो रहा है, that is not happening outside में तो सिर्फ legal, formalities are going on outside India. So this is a case, this is a loophole. This was, so यही loophole था. Earlier, Vodafone showed that Vodafone showed that the companies outside, जो purchasing, selling हो रहा है वो बाहर हो रहा है. It is not happening in India. Okay, but Government of India said, see the business, on legal terms you are doing business, you are selling company on, outside India's jurisdiction, but the business is in India. So this is where, so this legal loophole, should not be there. तो इसी legal loophole को उन्होंने हटा दिया. अब उन्होंने कह दिया कि भी कंपनी कहीं भी registered हो, if the business or money is coming or transaction is happening in India, then if the transaction is happening, then in that case you have to pay taxes. Okay, Ankit, I hope that concept is clear to you. Okay, so this is in fact this is a very important concept of of the international tax laws internationally. Many companies in the past one decade, they have take advantage of this, especially technology companies. अभी टेक्नोलॉजी कंपनी गूगल है, गूगल, फेसबुक, Amazon, Apple. Now these are technology companies. Now उनका business कहाँ हो रहा है? Where is the business is happening? Now these companies are registered in USA and they are doing business across the world. Now they might show that business India में नहीं हो रहा है, वो तो we are doing digital business, and they might show that the digital businesses are happening outside India because it is happening in virtual space. And this is where the companies take advantage of legal rules. Okay, नहीं अभी तो loophole काफी address हो गया है, whatever these are old loopholes. Okay, so all the now we have a lot of new concepts have come in the taxation. So government is also, it's not that government needs money, so government also have people, the think tanks. Okay, so now ऐसा नहीं होता है, but अभी क्या, companies are always, remember, companies have huge money, तो वो हमेशा नया नया legal loophole ढूंढने की कोशिश करते हैं and take advantage of that. So it is like a cat and mouse game. मुझे government को tax pay करना है, so I will look for a rule so that I should not pay taxes, like that. Okay, so this is where the problem is. So in this bilateral investment treaty, the government of India actually went overboard to get this money back, because this is not the only case. ऐसे बहुत सारे companies के case थे. Okay, for example, Keynes India. Keynes is an energy company. This उसका भी similar case है. We have Vedanta. Vedanta is an Indian, it's a Indian owner company, but they have, again, it's an MNC. So इनका भी ऐसे case, similar case था. So government of India said that अगर ऐसा होगा तो we'll lose a lot of money, and hence we have to change the law. But law आप जो retrospective करते हो, when you go back and change the law, that is not good. You should always do outside. तो अभी क्या है, हम लोग अभी तो नए नए agreements आ गए, new laws have come, and that has changed the dynamics. So I will cover in the taxation part. जब मैं economics में आपको taxation पढ़ाऊंगा, so I'll be covering all these cases. There is a concept transfer pricing is there. There is a GAR provision is there. So बहुत सारे technical provisions हैं. We'll understand that. For now, just understand that there were legal loophole and Vodafone took advantage of that. Government of India उस legal loophole को plug किया, and they said now this legal loophole is not there, and hence you have to pay taxes. Now they said date तो आगे का है, तो कह नहीं ठीक है हम पीछे का डेट लगा देते हैं. You know, so law can be changed. You can change the law. आप previous date से law को start कर सकते हो. But only civil laws. Only civil laws. You can't change the criminal law. आप criminal law में retrospective नहीं ला सकते. You can do only for the civil law. So India should learn that being a country that values the rule of law is an important quality to win over the confidence of foreign investors and international goodwill. Okay, these organs need to ensure that they exercise their public power in such a manner with international law. So this article basically highlights that how government of India जो किया वो सही नहीं किया. That shows that shows in wrong light that how government of India went ahead. In fact, it is said that right now government is looking at legal options. कि अभी हमारे पास legal options क्या क्या हैं? Because government might say that we will not honor international law obligation, हम honor नहीं करेंगे. But that would show a very bad example. Okay, so ruling might have impact on the two other ISDS claim that involved with the Kane Energy and Vedanta of imposition of taxes retrospectively. In fact, Vedanta ने भी Kane India ने भी government of India को कहा है कि भी आप you have put taxes on us retrospectively and hence you should answer that. Okay, so this is the concept of the retrospective taxation of Vodafone case. It is quite possible that India might use the award to further harden its antagonistic stand against ISDS and BITS. India unilaterally terminated almost all the international agreements after foreign investors started suing India for breaching the treaty. But the fact is that this case and other cases are the result of bad state regulation. So this is the problem right now. And what government of India, the current government, I on 14, the Modi government which came, they are more pro-business and investor friendly. And they said, we'll अभी हम आगे नहीं करेंगे, and whatever issues are going on, we'll try to solve them. But Vodafone was not ready. They were trying to find a middle ground, and naturally the legal process was also going on. Okay, so some people, in fact, this whole cases showed internationally that how India is inflexible in these accounts. If government is serious about doing foreign investment, India should immediately comply with the decision. So अभी देखते हैं ये decision comply करेंगे तो क्या क्या होगा. Only time will tell. But right now this is the problem. Now International Day of Non-Violence, October 2. Now you already know October 2. It's non-violence. Why non-violence? Because it is a birth date of Mahatma Gandhi, and Mahatma Gandhi is an international figure. Mahatma Gandhi is not only Indian; it's an international figure. Okay, so what is definition? He, Mahatma Gandhi is not only the father of the nation, but he has been the harbinger of peace, non-violence. His theory of ahimsa. Okay, how we should be promoting all these things. Okay, so these are. I'll take question at the end, guys. Okay, so the principle of non-violence. So the theories you can read that. The three main categories of non-violent action is protest, persuasion, non-cooperation, non-violent intervention. Okay, so non-cooperation, is basically. So आप ये पढ़ लेना. These are the principles. You can read it. Nothing much here. And these are the quotes given by Mahatma Gandhi on ahimsa. Okay, so International Day of October 2. In fact, yesterday a question also came on what is the common, common thing about Marxism and Gandhism. अभी आप देखो ना Marxism Gandhism में क्या था. Okay, so there were multiple options. There was a stateless class struggle. Okay, and there were some other options were there. So the stateless का vision था. So Mahatma Gandhi wanted to create a nation where a state concept and a stateless concept. It is a very ideal phenomena. So this is a question which came in yesterday's exam. So that is International Day of Violence. Now there is right now, if you remember what happened in January. In January there was a riot. There was a riots happened in Delhi, and these riots happened in the background of CAA protests. Okay, and these riots became बहुत heavy हो गए, and that created question mark on the ability of the Delhi government. So this article decodes that. Now, Delhi government, not Delhi government, Delhi police rather. Okay. So basically, what is the role of police? The role of police is to ensure that law and order is proper. Law and order मतलब क्या? Law and order means, so there is a law which everybody has to follow. If that law is not followed properly, or there are certain group of people, they do something which is against the law, so it might bring disorder. So that is like breaching a law and order. But एक और word होता है public order. Now public order is a very broader term. Okay, so this is law and order. And this public order. Normally, how does our system operates? Normally, law and order is held by police. Police law and order held करता है. But if there is a bigger problem, अगर यहाँ problem बढ़ती है, and this law and order might lead to a larger social problem, unrest, then here police का role, you have to go beyond police, and that is where the entire administration comes into picture. फिर यहाँ पे magistrate comes into picture. You must have heard that Dhara 144, section 144 is imposed. Now section 144 cannot be imposed by police. इसको minimum SDM or DM impose करता है. So basically, why section 144 is imposed? Because there is a feeling that public order will be disturbed. शायद public order disturb हो जाएगा. So it is much beyond law and order. Public order might be disturbed. Now tomorrow you might become a district magistrate, okay, or you might become a IPS officer. जब IPS officer हो गए आप, so you can only handle law and order. कहीं कुछ problem हुआ, you will send police and you will handle. But if the problem is getting bigger and you want to impose section 144, you have to contact an IS officer or somebody who has the magisterial power. आपको contact करना पड़ता है. You need to contact. So as an IPS, I can call the DM of the state, sir, and say, see, this problem is happening. Give us power so that I can impose. Why don't you impose section 144? So two bodies. Administration is a wider word. Police का छोटा काम है. Police law and order handle करता है. But public order, we require a convergence from the entire administration, and the section 144 is basically limiting the freedom of the people, and for that, the magisterial power should be given. ये British legacy है, and as for that, the magisterial power is given to the district magistrate or sub-divisional magistrate, depending on that. So that is how the entire thing operates. Now there are two bodies. यहाँ पे दो body हैं. One is police and other is the administration. Now police cannot do. Police को अगर help चाहिए तो they need cooperation and support from administration, and then only the entire things will operate. Now remember, there one more thing. But does this magisterial power is there across India? या हर जगह ऐसा लगता है? No, it is not true. Because in many areas, police has the magisterial power. And Delhi is one such area. In Delhi, the police had magisterial power, and that is why instead of SP or IG, DIG, we have commissioner of police. So wherever you'll see magisterial power, यहाँ पे आपको commissioner of police का term नजर आएगा. Recently in Noida and in Lucknow, in police the commissionerate system has been applied, which means now we will have in Noida, there will be not SP or SSP, there will be commissioner of police, okay, and that they will have magisterial power. No, but it's Garv has a question. Can sir judge can also give permission for 144? Judge का काम कुछ और है ना. Judge will not give. ये तो administration का काम है, right? So this power is at the magistrate. Okay, so magisterial power is with the these people. So police commissioner के पास has the magistrate power. So that is true in Delhi. Now recently in Noida and Lucknow also magisterial power has been the commissionerate system has been brought in. Now this question is basically discussing about that how Delhi police have not been able to use the magistrate power in a proper manner. So Delhi police having magisterial power under criminal procedure code to take preventive action has been criticized by failing to maintain public order and prevent Delhi riot. So ये कहा गया that Delhi government had all the Delhi police had all the power, and there they did not have to go to the Mr. Kejriwal to handle things. They had all the power, they, you know, and legally, so they could do that. Okay, but यहाँ पे discussion ये हो रहा है that how, you know, in a normal situation what happens, that you know, public order is an area which is managed by district magistrate, but law and order, which is a smaller area, has to be managed by the police. So this whole article discusses that you know, the distinction between the different action for which no political clearance is needed by district magistrate to maintain public order, investigate crime and make arrest was ignored. Maintaining public order was required the district magistrate to make hard choices. Okay, so ये सारा उस पर discussion कर रहे हैं. They are basically criticizing the government's you know, the Delhi police role, you know, in spite of having the power. And this distinction which I explained between law and order and public order, you can read it. ये थोड़ा technical है, don't worry. Once you understand the concept of legal, you know, system properly, you'll be able to comprehend this article. अगर अभी समझने की कोशिश करोगे तो you'll face certain, you know, issues. But in general, this article discusses about law and order, public order, and how, you know, Delhi government was not able to discharge its duty properly. You know, and there are some Supreme Court guidelines also, that how law and order and public order can be distinguished. Okay. So if you don't understand, don't worry. It is little technical. The article is little technical also, little beyond the scope of the, you know, examination. But if you read properly, the article अगर पढ़ोगे तो थोड़ा समझ में आएगा. ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं समझ में आएगा. So that is the demarcation in the interest of the public order. Okay. Now, Maharashtra modifies Forest Rights Act. Okay. So, now what is Forest Rights Act? And for that, let's go in the history. Now, if you try to see India's map, can you imagine the map of India? So if you try to imagine the map of India, and if you take a flight from Delhi to Bangalore, so this whole central part of India is basically a very important area called tribal belt. Now this tribal belt has historically, if you try to see, agar modern history padhoge, so you'll understand this in better way, that these were the forested areas and where the indigenous population lived. Indigenous population, the population जो हमेशा वहां रही है, and these were tribals. Now these tribals had their relationship with the forest. They basically lived in the forest. They had a very strong, you know, relationship with forest. They maintained the forest. They used to use forest. अपने livelihood के लिए forest को use करते थे through modern, the minor forest produce, you know, doing agriculture and all that thing. So that is how they could do that. Now when Britishers came, उससे पहले जो kings थे, they never interfered in the tribal, you know, areas, because tribal wanted to keep themselves aloof from the normal population. वो normal population से अलग रहना चाहते थे. Even if they interacted, the interaction was very limited. But when the British government came, British government started, you know, they saw forest as a huge resource, because forest is an area of, you know, resources. Forest, you know, wood is a good thing. The forest produce could be used. So, you know, they tried to intervene. और उन्होंने क्या किया? They said that this is India and the forest also lies under British government. And you must have read about many revolutions, the Santhal rebellion, the Birsa, you know, Munda rebellion. So all these you know, rebellion happened when Britishers tried to encroach in the areas of forest, and they said that now they say that this forest is in British India, so you can't cut the tree, you can't do this, you can't do that, okay, like that. So that is where you know, the tribals, they opposed the government, the British government, and many times they had rebellion also. Many government later on, you know, Britishers changed the policy. उन्होंने कहा कि जो forest के लोग उनको छोड़ देते हैं, because it is very difficult to explain them to you know, to be a part of, you know, Indian development like that. So forest people who lived in the tribal who lived in the forest, they had their own relationship with the nature, with the environment, and of course the forest, and they wanted to maintain that. Now government of India, when the new government came in, they said that let's try to follow, and there's a very famous theory of integration. अभी मैं in depth नहीं जाता हूँ, थोड़ा सा बताता हूँ. So what the government of India, the Nehruvian policy was very pro the tribals, and they said, let's not, disturb them, but at the same time, we need to develop them as well. So we'll give them education, we'll give them. So many laws were also created. But during British time, there was Indian Forest Act 1927. Then in 1980, Forest Protection Act 1980 was passed. अभी जो law passed हुए, these laws were misused. Remember, these laws were misused by forest officials because they had the power, and that is where the forest, also had the tribals had a confrontation relation with, the government of India. Because अभी जैसे मान लो आप forest officer बने, you became a forest officer in an area, and the tribal people are living there, and you go there and you say, अरे ठीक है, you say them, no, you can't touch this, ये national park बना दिया हमने, ये area national park हो गया. Now this area is national park, and this is a protected zone. And if you don't, even if you touch a tree, we'll put you behind bar. आपको हम जेल में डाल देंगे. Okay. Many times now those tribals are, they're not educated, they're not aware, they know nothing, they don't know your language also, and many times they're exploited. So this is something which has always gone. And one of the internal security called naxalism is also a root of that. So, I'll be taking naxalism next. Internal security will start. So naxalism is a area, is a basically internal security threat, and you must have read about it, you must have heard about it. So naxalism is basically is outcome of the poor developmental policy or poor implementation of the policies which government of India embarked. Government of India always wanted कि हम tribals को परेशान नहीं करेंगे, but that is what the policy said. But on ground the forests were exploited, and mainly because the forest land are very important. It is good for resources, it is good for minerals, and hence when you say that I want mineral, this area has coal, this area has iron ore, this area has aluminium, so you have to displace the forest people, the tribals, and that is where the problem started. So the confrontation happened, since multiple decades. So Nayan, your question is, so Nayandeep has a question, sir, how did forest officer disadvantage earlier act? No, I'm not able to understand your question. Forest officials, or they misuse the law, and they kind of misuse the law against the tribals. And many laws also, there were provision in the law where the officials can use such provisions, but you need to be more humane in handling the law. Okay. So जब ये सारा controversy बढ़ने लगा, then government of the previous government before the Modi government, they passed a very important law called Forest Rights Act 2006. Okay, and here they said that the tribal should decide. Tribal, अगर हमको mine करना है, let's say we want to do mining, so we need to take approval from the tribals. We need to take approval. हमको local approval लेना पड़ेगा उनसे. We need to convince them. We need to tell them, see, this area has good minerals, we need that for development of India. And they also, they should, when they are consulted, they don't want, उनको ऐसा नहीं वो कहते हैं कि भी हम anti India हैं. Of course they want development in India. They are Indians, but at least take them. They are the people who have guarded the forest, they are the people who have guarded the environment, and they have very good relation with environment. वो हम लोग की तरह environment को खराब नहीं करते हैं. They don't cut the tree and they clear the whole forest. No, that's not what they do. They are there, they take care of the environment, and they have very strong relation with the environment. And that is where the Forest Rights Act gave the power to the tribals, so that they can decide how things can be there. So recently Maharashtra government had issued notification modifying the FRA that will enable tribals and other traditional forest dwellers to build houses in the neighborhood forest areas. अभी आप बहुत सारे जो protected areas हैं, आप वहाँ कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते हो. You can't do anything. Now this provision will allow that. Now अभी हम जाके forest में घर नहीं बना सकते हैं, but the tribals living there can do that. So what is FRA 2006? Scheduled Tribe and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Act 2006 is a key piece of forest legislation in India. It has also been called as Forest Rights Act, Tribal Rights Acts. Okay. In the colonial era, the British diverted abundant forest resource of the world to meet their economic needs, while the provision for settlement of was provided under statutes under Indian Forest Act 1901 was hardly followed. यानी ऐसा नहीं था. Even the British के जो law थे Forest Act के, they also wanted to take care of the tribal people. but they were not followed properly, and that is where when the FRA आया, Forest Right Act, it gave more power to the tribals, and now tribal were more empowered. That was the intention. ठीक है? As a result, tribal and forest dwelling communities had been living in the forest in harmony with the environment and ecosystem, and continue to live inside the forest in tenurial insecurity, a situation which continued even after independence as they were marginalized. The symbiotic relations between forest and the forest dwelling communities found recognition in the National Forest Policy in 1988. FRA was enacted to protect the marginalized socioeconomic class of citizens and balance the right of environment with the right to life and livelihood. तो हमें सिर्फ ये नहीं कहा कि हम आपसे अप्रूवल लेंगे, बट यू कैन यूज फॉरेस्ट इन अ सस्टेनेबल मैनर फॉर योर ओन लाइवलीहुड. आप फॉरेस्ट को यूज कर सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ यू रिमेंबर, इफ आई टेल यू, जो ट्राइबल्स हैं, दे ट्राइबल्स मोस्टली, यू नो, दे डिपेंड ऑन माइनर फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस. अभी वो, इसको हम बोलते हैं एमएफपी. फॉर एग्जांपल, honey. So they will collect honey. Okay, so they know where the honey is available. So they'll collect honey in a very benign manner and they will sell honey. Okay, they might collect tendu leaves. What are tendu leaves? जो बीड़ी होती है, right? So you know, बीड़ी is made with tendu leaves. So these are tendu leaves. So they collect tendu leaf. और फिर क्या करते हैं? They collect the tendu leaf. Let's say they collect, you know, 1 quintal tendu leaf and they sell in 50 rupees. But वो जो middleman है, you know, that person is taking the 50 rupees and selling at 200 rupees. Okay, so such situation are also there. So now for a minor forest produce, may tribals have more right. They can use the produce, they can sell the produce. The tribals usually reach out to the local market. ठीक है, वो local market में जाते हैं, वहां अपना produce बेचते हैं. Now अभी आज का tribal अलग है. आज का tribal knows what is happening in the market. They come to the market and they sell. But earlier, the tribals lived inside. वो बाहर के लोगों से interact भी नहीं करते थे. But now dynamics have changed. The tribals are going out. They are learning. They are educating themselves. Okay, but we still need to protect them because tribal wants that उनका जो security है, जो उनका harmony है, उनका जो nature से उनका relationship है, that has to be sustained. And for that, government of India should help them. तो अभी गवर्नर ने क्या empower किया है कि जो भी आपके areas हैं tribals के, उन areas में the tribals can use the land for making their houses. Okay, earlier वो उसमें restrictions थे. Now notification has been issued by governor by using his power on the schedule 5 of the constitution according to the statement issued by the Raj Bhavan. इसको बोलते हैं PSA. पंचायत एक्सटेंशन शेड्यूल एरियाज. तो अभी शेड्यूल एरियाज क्या हैं? So scheduled areas are areas which are important areas where certain tribal people live. So हमारे यहाँ 5 schedule 5 है and schedule 6 है. So the schedule 5 and schedule 6, they are basically to protect the tribal areas. तो अभी क्या है, जैसे विलेज में आप रह रहे हो, शहर में रह रहे हो, you're learning urban area, so there are rules. You are living in rural area, so you have rules. You can make houses, all that. But in forest, such rules are not there. And this, modification will give the power to the forest, areas as well. Okay. So the decision is likely to provide a major relief to scheduled tribes and other traditional forest-dwelling families residing in the scheduled areas of the state. The urban area get increased floor space index (FSI) बोलते हैं. Rural areas, also get the same. But tribal villages on forest land have no legal space for building houses. The move aims to present the migration of forest-dwelling families outside their native villages and provide them with housing areas by extending the village site into forest land in their neighborhood. So abhi kya hai, they can take area of forest, they can make houses, which was not allowed previously. So this is about the Forest Right Act and this is about the provision. अभी fifth schedule constitution में क्या है? Fifth schedule is you can read, आज जाके आप check करना fifth schedule क्या है. Fifth schedule is a schedule which empowers the tribals of India. Okay, so it deals with administration and control of scheduled areas as well as scheduled tribe residing in any state other than Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. इसके लिए schedule 6 है, 6 schedule है. तो schedule 5 और schedule 6 they kind of promote that. तो यहाँ पे आप ये सब आप ये पढ़ सकते हो. Okay, this is very important also. ये MCQ के point से important है. You can get MCQ here directly. So it basically tells that what is the schedule areas, what are the powers of governor, what are the power of president. वो schedule areas को change कर सकते हैं. They can modify the schedule areas. They can increase the schedule areas. They can add some community in the schedule areas. Schedule tribe को add कर सकते हैं. So all that thing is there. Okay. So this is a polity part. You can read that. If you have any doubt, you can ask me later. Okay. Till here everything is clear, guys. Are you able to understand the Forest Right Act and schedule areas? Schedule areas समझ में आया आपको? Now, schedule areas are special areas where the tribal people in India have special rights which is not applicable in other part of India. तो ये जो ये scheduled areas में ही ये rights applicable होते हैं, not outside. Okay, fair enough. Okay, now language debate. So there is right now what is happening. So you must have heard about recent controversy where some kind of session was going on, and that session was related to fisheries, I think, and it had people from Tamil Nadu, and no, not fishery. I think it was related to Ayush, Ayush Mantralaya. Okay, and there were candidates from Tamil Nadu across India, but that session was in Hindi. And these people, they protested. They said that we are from Tamil Nadu, we are not able to understand Hindi. Okay. In Parliament also there was a debate that some people said that the messages that we are getting in the railways, they are coming in Hindi. They should come in Tamil. Okay. So if you try to see Tamil Nadu had a very famous in 10 and 20s, they had a very famous movement called anti-Sanskrit and anti-Hindi movement. And we had some famous leaders like Periyar, Annadurai. Okay, so this whole was Dravidian movement. Dravidian movement was based on the idea of anti-Sanskrit, anti-Hindi. In fact, it also became anti-North Indians. So this movement, became so prominent. It kind of एक hatred develop हो गया, and it kind of created a divide between the Hindi belt and non-Hindi belt. So if you see, right after you go, down from Maharashtra till Maharashtra, you'll find that people will very easily speak in Hindi. Okay, but even in Karnataka, you'll find people speak in Hindi. But moment you go to Tamil Nadu, you go to Kerala, you go to Andhra, even Andhra, Hindi is understood. But moment you go to, Andhra is also, little flexible. But if you go to Tamil Nadu, they have, because there is this Dravidian movement has instilled among the people, that, the divide has been created. And the Dravidian movement, they kind of they project themselves that we have a culture, and it is not inferior culture. Now there is nothing wrong in that. Remember, there is nothing wrong in that, and that is where, when the debate was happening, that what should be the language of India? India ka language kya hona chahiye? And that is where Hindi being the largest speaking, even today more than 44% of people speak Hindi, who have their first language as Hindi. Northern India is high, so they said that the Hindi should become a national language, and the opposition started from all the places, and Nehru wanted to create a middle ground, and that is where he said there will be no national, but there will be no national languages. And when the Constitution of India was created, it kind of said that we need to create a mechanism, and they said 15 years, we should give time of 15 years, and then Hindi might be adopted across India. But it was a voluntary thing that we will convince the people of the southern states, because they had apprehension. Now they said that, okay, now we don't have a problem with Hindi, but how could you impose Hindi on us? How could you say that our official document will be Hindi, our the court will move in Hindi? And that is where the three language formula came into picture. So one will be, of course, the Hindi. The second would be the the link language, which is English, and third is the mother tongue language. So these are the native languages, and later on these languages became the scheduled languages. So there are scheduled 8 of India's constitution, there are 22 languages which are there. So these are the official languages of India, and which are mentioned. Now, Hindi is broadly followed in northern states, but in southern states, every state which is non-Hindi belt, you will find that most of the official and work is done in the language, and that is completely okay. And but this new debate जो अभी start हो रहा है, that debate is wrong. I think it is basically because of the politics that is going on. But one thing is definitely there, that under the BJP government, there is a lot of effort being on the revival of Sanskrit. And why Sanskrit? Because Sanskrit is a very ancient language, and it is believed, it is called ancient language. It is called classical language as well. And classical language is a language which has more than a legacy of, first it should be original, means it should not have derived from some other language. And so we have multiple classical language in India today. Tamil is also classical language. Andhra is also, Malayalam is also, Odia is also. So we have multiple, classical languages, because every language has its own importance. Remember, every language is important. We have to take everybody together, and that is where the debate. I think this debate is wrong. The debate is politicized हो गया है, because leaders of Tamil Nadu, the election might happen in next year probably, and hence they want to revive the old sentiments. Okay. So this is what, so let's discuss this article in the background of the all thing that I discussed. The issue of adopting a national language could not be resolved when the Constituent Assembly began drafting India's constitution. Members of the Hindi-speaking provinces who moved a number of pro-Hindi amendments argued for adopting Hindi as a sole national language. Widespread resistance to the imposition of Hindi led to the passage of Official Language Act 1963, which provided for continued use of English for all official purposes. Hindi became the sole working language of union government by 1965, with state government free to function in the language of their choice. So अभी आप देखोगे that government of India operates in Hindi as well as in English. And now the state will operate in their own language, but the intercommunication will happen in the English naturally. जहाँ हिंदी बेल्ट है वहाँ हिंदी communication होगा, but wherever the communication. In fact, usually you will find that even in Hindi world there is a Hindi and English. Both the languages are used. Okay. The constitutional directive of the union government to encourage the spread of Hindi was retained within the central government and reached to the non. So ये कहा गया that we will promote Hindi, but that should be voluntary. Now, if you say to a Tamil that you should learn Hindi because Hindi is the most popular language. Now that Tamil will say, why Hindi? Why not my language? So you might say that, okay, to somebody who belongs to Tamil Nadu, say that, okay, we are thinking of having one language so that whole India become one, and they say, okay, we don't have a problem of learning Hindi, but it should not be mandatory. So you'll say, okay, I want to learn Tamil, and why don't you learn Hindi? So let's try and make that. Yes, if we have one common language across India, naturally it will improve the business, economy, everything. But that is okay. But that should be voluntary by people. Somebody from Tamil Nadu or from Kerala or from Odisha or from any place. If they voluntarily learn the language, nothing wrong in that. But don't make it compulsory. Don't make it compulsory in UPSC. Don't make it compulsory in the examination or school syllabi. That should not be there. Okay. So this whole article discusses the same thing. What are the issues with 8th schedule? So this article कहता है कि अभी 8th schedule में there are 22 languages. There should be more. That is what this article says. According to Census 1, India has 30 languages that are spoken by more than 1 million people each. The constitution lists 22 languages and protect them in the 8th schedule. Many languages are kept out of the schedule, even if they deserve to be included. This includes Tulu, which is spoken by 1.8 million people and has inscriptions dating 14th and 15th centuries. So where is Tulu? Which part of India the Tulu is spoken? Anybody knows that? Anybody knows that? Karnataka. Tulu is a language spoken in Karnataka. Wonderful. Okay, Ashwini knows that. Okay, so it is spoken in the in some district in Karnataka. Ashwini, your language is Tulu? I'm just asking. Okay. So while Hindi, a much younger Indo-Aryan language, growing prominence since before independence. When a refined language loses its status in literary and daily interaction, the way of the life also vanishes. Now, what is a language? Remember, ask yourself. Your language is your identity. Your language is your culture, because the culture is identified by language. हर culture का एक अपना language होता है, and okay, okay, okay. You're born and brought up in Bangalore, Karnataka. Okay, fair enough. So every language is, is an identity. So if I have a language now, to tell you frankly, I belong to East UP. So basically, I belong to a Hindi belt, but the local dialect is something else. We have Bhojpuri here, which is being spoken properly. As we go further, in the Bihar and the central part of Bihar and some other part of Bihar, you'll find Maithili is there. So we have multiple languages in India, and that language is your identity and it is your culture. You want to harness that, you want to pass on to your posterity. आप अपने आगे वाले generation को language pass on करते हो, okay, and that is very important. Yes, yes, I understand, Ajit. The Belgaum controversy is a very old controversy. I understand. Belgaum is bordering, it's basically Marathi-speaking population, but the Kannada, the Kannada is a big force on them. Okay, so this article discusses about that how if there are some language like Tulu who are spoken by very few people and it is vanishing. Now, once the language is identified, when let's say a language is identified in the Constitution of India, then government will allocate budget. Government will make sure that the language is, has documents, has scriptures. Okay, and that is how it is. Currently it is found that Hindi is the fastest growing language. The numbers of speakers of other languages are dropping. Okay, and that is where we need to recognize the other languages. We need to promote the other languages. But problem ये होता है कि let's say all of you, we are learning English. I have a 4-year son, and when I speak to their teacher, they want to speak, in all time in English. I'll tell them child will not learn Hindi in his life. He just want to speak Hindi, you know, just because the normal Hindi newspapers, he might not able to understand, because Hindi also has a lot of rich literature. Now, English is a link language. It is important for communication. It is important for business. It is important for learning. If you understand and see the countries, whether it is Germans, Chinese, Japanese, they all take pride in their language. You go to France, you go to Germany, you'll find Germans speaking Germans only. You'll rarely find English. I remember during my IT time, I went to France for a few weeks. Okay, so I went to for France for a few weeks, and I was surprised. There were hardly any people who could speak English. Okay, because we were there for a project, and when I went there, it was a small project of 3-4 weeks, and when I went there, I found that most of the people were speaking French. I literally have to look out to people who were who could speak English. So these are developed nations. So it does not mean that you will learn and you will grow only when you will learn English. We were ruled by Britishers, and America, UK, or it is the most commonly accepted language in the world. That is okay. While discussing Hindi, its use, let us also focus on the merit of other Indian languages. Instead of focusing on one national language, we should learn a language beyond the mother tongue and get to know a different way of life. If you don't protect and promote other well-developed languages and cultures, they might die. So that is what this article discusses about. Okay, this one language formula. I hope you got the background of this. Okay, so there is Ambedkar Social Innovation Incubation Mission, ASSIM. So basically, it is looking at entrepreneurship in the scheduled caste youth. Okay, and with special privilege to Divyang. Divyang means the physically disabled group. So they want to promote entrepreneurship in the social group. If I talk about poverty in India is around 22%, as per the last official data. If I say the current data, I think before pre-COVID agar lenge, so I'm sure it must be around 10-12%. It should not be more than 10-12%, the poverty line in India. But the last data is 2011-12, it is 22%, and out of that 29% is SC. Okay, So it is found that mainly in India, the poor people belong to SC and ST category mostly. They belong to other categories also, OBCs also, and general categories also. But SCs and STs are the most disadvantaged group, and this mission specifically focuses on how do we promote entrepreneurship, how do we bring ideas among them, okay? And for that we need to give support, we need to give money, we need to give technology, okay? We need to promote, we need to incentivize, we need to develop the mindset, because people who are relatively poor, their mindset is also like that, okay? So you need to maybe help them so that they are able to come out of that cocoon or shell, और कैसे आपको empower करें, and for that these missions are very important. So we have Ministry of Social Welfare, whose major focus is to improve all that. And we have Ministry of Women and Child Development. So this is what this mission is mainly about: how do we promote entrepreneurship, how do we promote startup culture idea, and for that government will help them giving funds. The successful will get more funds in future. Okay, so that is Ambedkar Social Innovation Incubation Mission. So these are now venture capital fund. What is venture capital fund? VC fund or VCF. So let's say you have a company and you started a company, and that company is growing slowly maybe, or you have a great idea but you don't have money. So you have two options. You can you can go to a angel investor. आप किसी rich person के पास जाओ and you ask them, sir, why don't you become an angel investor? Or you approach a firm or company which is called venture fund, venture capital fund. So they're called venture capitalists, people who do that. तो मेरा एक कुछ और होगा, जैसे कुछ लोग होंगे, they invest in the new companies but they expect high return. उनको बहुत high return चाहिए होता है. They have very less patience. So they will say, I will invest in your company, but I need average return of 15% every year. मुझे average 15% growth चाहिए. And if I see 15% growth, then I can invest. Sorry, I'll give you money and I'll and you have to work hard so that you get 15% growth. After 3, 4, 5 years, they will leave the company. वो company जब बड़ा हो जाएगा तो वो छोड़ के चले जाएंगे, and then they will look for new company. So that is the venture fund capitalist. They basically invest in the companies, the new companies, and they have very ruthless. They want to generate good return, and it is very risky to take money from them because they have very strict clauses, strong clauses, and to survive their clauses is again very difficult. But that is how it works. Okay, so these are venture capital fund for the SC group would be there, so that जो अच्छे ideas हैं उनको हम venture fund में लेके जाएंगे, and those ideas can grow and they get fund and growth can happen. Okay, so that is venture fund capital fund. Okay, so there is recently a survey by ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, and National Institute of Nutrition, NIN, sorry, and they have discussed about the obesity in India. Okay, so obesity in India it's basically a lifestyle problem, and this causes a problem with lifestyle diseases. You must have heard about them, whether it's BP or it's called hypertension, or sugar, or some kind of many diseases are there which are lifestyle diseases, and obesity is one of the major cause of the disease. Okay, so what India Eat survey, कितना ग्राम आप कंज्यूम करते हो? India's urban center consume 56 gram per fat per day. Okay, 36 gram in rural areas. So all these are there. Fat, oil. Okay, nothing much here. Just read them. This data shows that we are not eating healthy. So are you eating healthy? Ask yourself. Okay, so that completes this small topic. Now we'll come to a very important topic called this article discuss about India and its neighbors. So India और हमारे जो neighbors हैं, who are the neighbors of India? So we have Nepal, we have Bhutan, we have Bangladesh, we have Sri Lanka, we have Myanmar, Maldives, and of course the closest one, the Pakistan. Okay, so these are the neighbors. So how these neighbors see India? Okay, so yes, with you are right. Now, what relations India has and with neighbors? So we have a good policies. We have policies like neighborhood first. बट अभी देखो इंडिया का जो रिलेशन है नेबर से वो बहुत शेडी है. इट इज नॉट गुड. सो वी हैव गुड रिलेशन विद भूटान. वी आर गोइंग ओके विद बांग्लादेश, बट कुछ ना कुछ होता रहता है. राइट नाउ वी आर ओके विद मालदीव्स एंड श्रीलंका आल्सो, इवन इन म्यांमार. But we do not have the best of time of business. We are having problem with Pakistan all the time. We are having problem with Nepal. There are issues. Recently, Bangladesh के साथ हुआ था. हमने export onion का onion is getting costly in India, so we did export ban of onion. So Bangladesh was unhappy. Why you are exporting the why you are banning the export of onion? Because India में supply crunch हो रहा है, so we are because the prices will of onion will go up. Elections are also happening, so there are n number of reasons where neighbors might get unhappy. So this article explores the whole aspect of them. It explores that what are the challenges and how do we manage the relationship. First is duality challenge. Even during the Britishers also there were problem or struggle, because Britishers also always they tried to suppress Nepal, they tried to suppress Bhutan, they tried to suppress Afghanistan. Okay, because they wanted to attain, ensure security of India, the British India, and the supremacy. So a conflicting relation was always there. In Nehruvian era, he wanted to make good relations with the other, this thing, and he wanted that there should be good relationship and it should be sustained. But there were problems. हर country का अपना reason है, अपना challenge है. Every country's politics is getting influenced by India, or India is influencing their politics. So there are multiple factors. The first is, the British India had a challenge. India, that legacy was passed on to India as well. Okay, so there are reasons, and there are 5 reasons, which stand out. पहला है partition. When the partition happened, it created problem because the partition happened on the lines of, religion. But partition was not only about people; it was also about land, territory, resources, and they were bound to create conflict. Conflict तो होना ही था. For example, subdivision was created. Then partition created challenge of settling boundaries, sharing river water, rights of minorities, easy flow of goods and services. Okay, so partition created Pakistan, and Pakistan created the problem of whole the problem that you're facing, whether it's terrorism is concerned, or whether the mistrust between India and the Pakistan which is there. Then the rise of China. So हमने सोचा नहीं था 1949 में China became a country. So China became a big country, a very resourceful country. It was nobody thought that China will be able to survive. लोगों को लगा शायद China survive ही नहीं करेगा. But China not only survived, it became big, and today after 75 years we can see China even today. After 70 years, China is still there, and a stronger China, a bigger China, a China which is asserting the whole world. Okay, it is, or right from the beginning it has created problem. If you see any communist regime in the world, mostly the communist regime have floundered. वो survive नहीं कर पाया, except China. Or maybe there were one small here and there example of Cuba and North Korea. But mostly the communist regime are non-existent. But China was able to unify, and that also kind of created problem. And right now we already know the problems. The territorial disputes are there. Okay, and we have our own this thing. India wants to become a big player. India wants to move from a regional player to a global player. China does not want India to grow. The third is in the period after independence. So from 1951 till 1991, India was against globalization. We were against. हमने closed economic, we followed a closed economic model. Okay, so we followed a closed economic model, and that is the system we had. Now we deliberately we followed that model. तो हमने जब follow किया तो हमारे बहुत सारे जो neighbors थे, we did not had, they followed different policy. The immediate neighbor की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, but if I say South, East Asian countries, so they followed capitalist system, और हमने उल्टा, हमने socialist system follow किया. Okay, So independent India's conscious choice in favor of deglobalization led to steady dissipation of commercial connectivity with the neighbors. क्योंकि हमने कहा कि हम ट्रेड बिजनेस लिमिटेड करेंगे, ज्यादा नहीं करेंगे, we'll focus our own capacity building. But that changed in 1991 because हमने economy को open किया, and today we want to have a regional connectivity. Okay, but there is very little progress have happened. आज देखो हमने बहुत सारा effort किया है, but the progress maybe जैसा होना चाहिए वैसा नहीं हुआ है. Yes, things are right now they are moving, like ferry service with Maldives, reopening of inland waterways with Bangladesh. We are looking at ways how to integrate. We are having bilateral treaties. We are negotiating. But उस level पे नहीं हुआ है. Almost 3 decades has passed. 30 साल हो गए हैं. Even after 30 years, South Asia has still not integrated the trade ho, business ho, people to people movement ho. Okay, and every onus is on India because सब लोग India को देखते हैं. India is a big country. Because if you add all these countries, they are, even if you add all of them, they are not even 1/5 of India or 1/4 of India. So naturally the onus will be on India. How India takes this part and how we are able to bring these countries on board. The next was the rise of political agency in neighborhood. Okay, always remember political agencies. There are कई बार जैसे मान लो नेपाल में है. So Nepal, lot of people in Nepal, their politics run on anti-India sentiment. वो anti-India sentiment करके they try to arouse the nationalist sentiment, and that is how they rule. The same is true with Pakistan. In Pakistan, the military controls the narrative. उनका military कहता है कि India wants to break Pakistan, so we have to make a stronger Pakistan. They say that if you don't make ourselves stronger, we can't compete with India. We can't live with India because India will destroy Pakistan. That is the narrative they promote. Do you have we read history books that we want to break India? क्या हमने ऐसा कुछ सुना है कि हम हिस्ट्री पाकिस्तान को ब्रेक करना चाहते हैं और डायरेक्टली और इम्प्लिसिटली भी कहीं आपने ऐसा पढ़ा है? No, but that is what they teach in their books. So automatically that creates a mistrust. And ये सब politics है. There are people who want to create these divides, and through this divide they are able to create politics, and these are basically elites who do that. Then influence of domestic policy. हमारे इंडिया का policy. So we have a relationship with Tamil Nadu. Sorry, we have a relationship with with Sri Lanka. But here always Tamilian card will be played. Because in Sri Lanka there are two populations. There are Tamils are there, and the Sinhalese population are there. Tamil are hardly 20%, and Sinhalese are 70-75% are there. So the Tamil people they get exploited, and whenever you want to do relation with Sri Lanka, the Tamilian issue always comes in between. Okay, so can India persistently champion Tamil minorities' rights in Sri Lanka without incurring any cost with the Sinhala majority? Because उनका जो internal politics है वो हमारे country का foreign policy को impact करता है. Okay, Indian Prime Minister did not attend the Colombo Commonwealth Summit on 13 because of Tamil minority issue. The Teesta Water Agreement was not included due to political reasons. The Teesta River, we already know that it flows from West Bengal to Bangladesh. And इसमें हम लोग बहुत दिन से treaty करना चाहते हैं, but Mamata Banerjee is against that. The West Bengal government is against that, and hence we are not able to sign. Can you believe an international agreement has not been able to sign? Why? Because one state leadership is not ready. Okay, so these are the problems which are there. So the relationship that we have with our neighbor has its own challenge and concern. And if you want to solve this, we have to take everybody together. The way forward would be we have to find solutions with a timely response to the problems. We need to prevent small issues becoming big. We need to align economic policy. हमको help करना पड़ेगा. There are some important elements of any successful management in India, perennial neighborhood challenges. ये problems तो हमेशा रहेंगी. Remember, they see India as a big country. They see India as a country which has a big brotherly attitude. When you go to Nepal, and I'm telling you, because a lot of my friends are Nepali, and I've studied in Dehradun, and there were a lot of Nepalese who were there in that school, because that owner of that school was Nepalese, and he left Nepal and settled in India, and he took Indian citizenship. But so he had Nepali roots, and so the owner of my school, and automatically the Nepalese used to come. And when they used to come, I had a very sincere conversation with them. When we were small, we were not able to understand, but I could see even then that there was like a hatred, among them towards India. Little hatred. They would not show because they're living in India and studying in India, but that was there. But today, when I see, their Facebook post or what they write, whenever there's an issue between India, Nepal, some slight, so they will try to, project the, the Nepalese side, and and many a times, the nationalist sentiment become important. Okay, it comes into in between us. So this is something, which I have experienced as a person who knows people from other country. The same would be true with Sri Lanka. The same would be true with, maybe Bhutan or Bangladesh or Maldives. Okay, तो उनको लगता है कि इंडिया एक बहुत बड़ा कंट्री है. इंडिया is a country which, wants that every country should follow them, and every country has every, individual has their own pride. Okay, वो कहते हैं India is bullying us. So that is what they don't want. There are no easy answers to the regional difficulties that trouble all governments in Delhi. The source of problem lies in the deeply interconnected nature of South Asian societies administered by multiple sovereigns. Okay, so these are the problems, and let's. Okay, so India, Myanmar. Recently, we have Thursday, carried out comprehensive review of their relationship by deepening the cooperation in trade, investment, power, energy, and healthcare. So, now you can see India. This is Myanmar. India and Myanmar, we share a huge length of boundary. You can see here, more than 1600 kilometers. So Myanmar is very important strategic neighbor, and we share around 1640 kilometers, a long border with northern states including militancy hit Nagaland and Manipur. Okay. So in the talks, the MEA has said that Foreign Secretary reiterated the priority India attaches to partnership with Myanmar in accordance with Neighborhood First and Act East policy. So neighborhood first policy hai, in that Myanmar is a very important country, basically because we share a huge boundary. The second reason is that Myanmar also is a passage to Southeast India. Sorry, Southeast, Asia. Okay, so if you want to go to, Myanmar, from Myanmar to Thailand. Okay, from Thailand you can go to Singapore, Philippines, Philippines, Malaysia, all those countries, Indonesia, easily you can go that. So recently we have a MEA talks happened. So we reviewed the entire relationship, and the idea was to increase cooperation, border infrastructure, trade, business, power cooperation, cultural cooperation. So ये सारा discuss हुआ. So India has a lot of involvement in projects right now with Myanmar. For example, 160 kilometer Tamu Kalewa Kalemo road. Okay. Then these are roads, Kaladan multimodal project, and Sitwe port. Sitwe port जो है उनका बहुत strategic port है. India wants to develop that. Okay. So these are some other involvement which Indian companies have. Majority of pulse requirement of India comes from Myanmar, whose 60% of global supply is made to India. Okay, so that is where the Myanmar India has a good relationship. Now, what is the way forward? How do we improve relationship? Myanmar से relationship अच्छा कैसा करें? So we have areas like mango, bicycle, these are trade areas. We can give him import transport subsidies दे सकते हैं. We can create an international bus service between More with Mandalay. More जो है इंडिया में है, Mandalay is there in the Myanmar. So these are the areas where we can do that. The second is international organization BIMSTEC. एक BIMSTEC organization है where both in India, Myanmar are part of this regional group. तो ये इसको हम cooperation कर सकते हैं. So these are the ways in which the India and Myanmar can make good relationship. Okay. So till here everything is okay, guys. Should I give you a few minutes break or should I continue? You want 1 or 2 minute break? 2 minutes break I can give. Okay, continue. Fair enough. Okay, good. So Azerbaijan and Armenia conflict क्या है? So today your task is that you'll go and see the map of. So there is you can see Caspian Sea here, and just look around the map of Europe and look at Armenia, Azerbaijan. Okay, so the Armenia, Azerbaijan are two countries which are neighbors, and they have an old conflict. You know, अभी यहाँ पे clashes हो रहे हैं. You must have heard. And right now it is the capital of Azerbaijan is Baku. Azerbaijan has mainly Muslim population, which has a Turkish link, Turkish ethnic link. So this is basically they are supported by Turkey naturally. Armenia has a Christian population, and being a Christian population, they get more support from Russia. So right now this conflict is going on, and recently fresh clashes erupted on the border, threatening to push back after a ceasefire. So 1994 में भी war हुआ था और अब तभी ceasefire हो गया था, and again the clashes have erupted, and this conflict is in news right now. So this is the whole background of the conflict. They have their own historical right, 100 years old उनका एक issue है, and that is going on. And right now, what is the conflict? The largely mountainous and forested Nagorno-Karabakh, it is a home for 150 lakh people. It is the center of the conflict. Okay, so ये conflict is more. I personally believe that it is more ethnic and religious. Okay, so you can read it, the whole conflict in the pre-Soviet era. I explained you the background. Okay, आप इसको पढ़ोगे तो समझ में आ जाएगा. Okay, the conflict was there, and ये दोनों they became part of USSR. And there in USSR, to resolve the conflict, between both the ethnic group, USSR kind of created a mechanism where some part was given to, Moscow gave to Azerbaijan, but offered autonomy to the contested region. जहाँ भी conflict हुआ उन्होंने कहा यहाँ freedom देते हैं, autonomy कर देते हैं. But after the Soviet, collapsed, तो इनका conflict फिर से start हो गया. Armenia and Azerbaijan became independent countries after the collapse of the Soviet Union, and clashes led to open war where thousands of people were killed. फिर ये ceasefire हुआ और फिर से ceasefire वो अभी 26 years बाद 2020 में फिर से re-erupt हो गया. So it is mainly about controlling the area. अब यहाँ देखो ना, this area, Armenian controlled area, and here we have Armenian population, but it is in the control of Azerbaijan. Legally जो है वो Azerbaijan का part है. Okay, so it is Azerbaijan territory under Armenian military control. And here we have Nagorno autonomous region. So autonomous region means यहाँ भी freedom कम है उनको. Autonomous means they have more freedom. What Azerbaijan, that this whole part should become their part. उनका part बन जाना चाहिए. Okay. Armenia का claim है कि ये सारा हमारा होना चाहिए. Azerbaijan claim है कि नहीं अब ये part हमारा ही है. Legally it is a part of us. So they are not able to find a meeting ground. जब war हुआ तो एक ceasefire हो गया. And again that ceasefire has broken after 26 years. Now why this area is important and why Russia is getting involved in this region? Because ये जो है route है, it is a route for energy. Because आप देखो ना Caspian Sea है यहाँ पे, and this whole area is an energy belt. Okay, और बगल में आप देखोगे तो Russia is there, and Russia is one of the biggest producer of natural gas in the world. And Azerbaijan has also has a lot of you can say natural resources. ठीक है, तो वो क्यों important है? Because it's energy rich. Azerbaijan has built several gas and oil pipelines. Okay, and we can read that some of the pipeline pass close to the conflict, and here in open war can create can disrupt the energy supply. और pipeline कहाँ जाता है? Europe में जाता है. It all goes to Europe. Okay, so what is Turkey role? As I mentioned, Turkey is supporting Azerbaijan because of they have a close. Azerbaijanis are Turkic ethnic group, and their language is from Turkic family. So naturally, they're getting support from Turkey, and they have cultural historical ring. Russia wants a peace. Russia have a good relation with both the countries, but Russia wants peace. But they are more towards the side of naturally Armenia. Okay, because Armenia is very dependent on that. So these are the challenges are there. So let's see how the whole things will change over the years. अभी world बहुत अलग हो गया है. Today the world is different. I remember historically whenever the conflict used to happen between two countries, so USSR used to come, USA used to come, The countries like UK, France, they had also good say in all the areas, and these few countries had major say. Even China was a background player, but not much. But USSR, USSR were always there. Remember, India-Pakistan war happened 1965. Who brokered the deal? USSR brokered. In 1971, the war happened. So India kind of brought every country on board. Then only we were able to find solutions. But आज क्या है? Every country on its own. Today USA, even with superpower, USA से हमें कोई मतलब नहीं है. We want to follow America first policy. अभी कहीं conflict हो रहा है, okay, we'll have a say, but I would not intervene. These countries, especially America and Russia, these countries had say on every international affair. They globally, they had, they were controlling, they were calling shots. But today, that is not true, and has been the problem. What has happened? The decline in power of UK and France, the breakdown of USSR. USSR जो है रशिया में convert हो गया. Then Russia became very economically, they had problem. It became a poor country. It faced economic crisis, and then in 20th century the revival happened. But it is not like USSR. USA has been ruling properly, but over a period of time USA power has plateaued. उनका पावर अभी रुक गया है. तो जो भी बॉडीज थे, अभी आप देखते हो हिस्टोरिकली क्या था. द आइडिया वाज दैट यूनाइटेड नेशन शुड बी अ बॉडी व्हिच शुड कॉल शॉट्स. अभी आज अगर लड़ाई होता है किसी दो कंट्री के बीच में, यूएन कुछ भी नहीं कर पा रहा है. इन दिस होल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ अजरबैजान एंड आर्मेनिया, व्हाट यूएन इज डूइंग? नथिंग. आई कुड नॉट सी very few things I can read in the UN, because UN is becoming powerless. The power of UN used to come from USSR, USA. Now these countries are more concerned in their own conflict. अभी यूएसए काम है कैसे भी रशिया को डिमीन करना, यूके उसके साथ हो जाता है. अभी चाइना इज अ न्यू पावर ब्लॉक व्हिच इज कमिंग अप. Okay, so these are the problems that we're witnessing in the new global world. Okay, so let's see how dynamics will change. So UN and retreat from multilateralism. So United Nations was created as a body and whose purpose was to create a global order, a global rule, the global governance. और सारी कंट्री को फॉलो करना होगा हम जो कहेंगे. बट द मेन प्लेयर टुडे, द स्टेक होल्डर लाइक यूएसए एंड यूके हैव विथड्रॉन. अभी यूएन वीक हो गया. यूएन इज नो मोर. यूएन शुड रिफॉर्म, and we have been asking for reform. China has been asking for reform. India has been asking for reform. India कह रहा है कि भी आप हमें power दो. We want to have a say in the world, but give us power, give us more voting right. Today, UK and USA, they are not taking the role which they were there. कोई भी वर्ल्ड में प्रॉब्लम होता था, USA was the guarantor of last resort. But today under President Trump, America first. उनको कोई मतलब ही नहीं वर्ल्ड में क्या चल रहा है. वो कह रहे हैं अभी आप देखो, अभी हमें मतलब नहीं है. Then China, China has the new power, the new chip on the block, but China is more concerned about its own area. China ये नहीं चाहता है कि पूरा वर्ल्ड. China कहता है अभी हमारा देखते हैं. China have a Belt Road Initiative, BRI initiative है उनका, series of bilateral credit agreements. Okay, China कुछ भी multilateral नहीं चाहता. China चाहता है कि हम ही कंट्रोल करें सब कुछ को. Okay, European Union and USA is against Russia. तो ये इन लोग का आपस में cat and mouse game is going on, and automatically Russia is getting closer to USA, China, sorry. Okay, so international UN का जो body है in terms of consensus, in terms of decision making, that has broadly has been affected. And United Nations as a body which was there to create multilateralism, which was there to create a global governance, that is getting weaker, and the new power blocks are coming. अभी आप देखो टर्की कितना कुछ भी कर रहा है, and nobody is saying anything. Turkey is involved in Syria, Libya, Eastern Mediterranean. It is beating international law, but nobody is saying anything. Earlier, if any country used to intervene beyond a certain level, the countries used to import sanctions. Okay, बहुत कुछ होता था, but आज नहीं हो रहा है. So UN is getting weaker. It has limited resources. It has limited money. सब लोग बजट कम कर रहे हैं. The UN's work of humanitarian assistance, development work, ये सारा जो है impact हो रहा है. It is getting down, coming down. Okay, so that is another problem. Another big reason is climate change. You need cooperation here. अभी मैं उस दिन ट्रम्प का डिबेट सुन रहा था. So he is against this Paris Climate Summit. He says that okay, no, this climate. He says why should give money to India and China? No, because under the climate change, all developed countries will have to create a fund, the Green Climate Fund. And in this Green Climate Fund, उनका commitment जो था, they should ideally give $100 billion every year, and this will be involved in addressing the climate change issues, especially in the poor countries or developing countries like India. But उनका commitment वो नहीं follow कर रहे हैं, वो commit नहीं करेंगे. We'll see. And then US has withdrawn. Once US has withdrawn, तो अभी बड़ा country, when the leader is withdrawn, other will also withdraw. So withdrawal from Paris Agreement, USA has, what Mr. Trump, can I get it in India, वो कहते हैं कि भी आप चाइना को करना चाहिए, इंडिया को करना चाहिए. They say that China and India are no more weak, they are very strong countries, so they should fund. India says why should we fund? This climate change is because of you. Okay, India is making effort to reduce our अपना carbon emission कम करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. China has said that it become carbon neutral by 2060. France is saying that EU will become carbon neutral by 50. अभी कैसे करेंगे हमें पता नहीं. Only time will tell. But that is what is supposed to be happening. But UN as a body which used to bring convergence, it used to bring people together, that is not happening. Okay. So we need UN's. Right now UN is facing a priority issue. It is facing a challenging issue. Maybe in future, maybe UN का value down हो जाए. The time will tell. Okay, so this is about that completes this topic, and then this is a topic about Himalayan Chandra telescope. You can read that. This telescope is in Ladakh, and its operating station is in I think yes, in Bangalore, inside 3B satellite. So this telescope mainly looks at astronomical telescope hai, so it looks at explosion, comets, exoplanets, so all that thing. You can read it. What are the uses? Okay. Then there is India's first multi-wave astronomical observatory here. Okay, so recently it has a. You can read it. It's a factual thing. Nothing much here. So CAT-Q virus. So Indian Council of Medical Research has come across presence of antibodies, in 2 human samples. क्योंकि उनको जो है CAT-Q virus का antibody मिला है. So this CAT-Q virus is basically a virus which is mainly found in pigs, but they can move to humans, and it is also can be infected through mosquitoes also. But it's an old virus, so you don't have to worry. Okay, so that is the CAT-Q virus is there. Then there is a news of defense offset. 2-3 news hai, then we'll stop for the day, guys. I can understand. It's a lengthy class. So what is defense offset? Now defense offset is basically a mechanism. So let's say India does import deal with arms with, let's say, USA, and we bring the offset clause. So let's say 50 $10 billion ka deal hai. So in this there is an offset clause where we expect that in this deal a part of the money will be reinvested in India, okay, or they will bring technology transfer in that. So that is called offset. Okay, so right now why it has been discussed, जो हमारा ये अभी India and France का Rafale deal हुआ है, so there was a proposal of offset clause where they will help India in making aircrafts or making some parts of aircraft, but वो offset deal में discussion हो रहा था and it never materialized. Okay, so that is what it says. It's an obligation by international player to boost India's domestic defense industry if India is buying defense equipment from it. So CAG ने highlight किया है that जो हमारा deal हुआ है India France का, उसमें offset वाला जो aspect नहीं है, and it has been questioned. So whenever India or any country it's an international practice where when you have huge significant trade relations, sorry, military, purchasing or import. So the companies, जैसे मान लो इंडिया, अभी हम एक एयरक्राफ्ट में 1600 करोड़ दे रहे हैं. नहीं, the cost of aircraft इतना थोड़ी है, but because we want technology also, we not support also, because we know that Rafale has a life of maybe 3 decades. तो हमको 3 decades तक चलाना है, ये थोड़ी 2 दिन 4 दिन चलाया फिर कार थोड़ी है 5 साल बाद चेंज कर दिया. Okay, so it might there for 3 decades, 4 decades. The Sukhois that we have, they are in the, they were taken in 80s and they upgraded all the time. Okay, so that is the foreign vendors से हमारे offset obligations होते हैं, contractual agreements are there. We expect them to invest, because that is why if you are purchasing an item of 100 rupees at 1000 rupees, so naturally we expect some bigger thing in return. So these are the offsets which are in news, defense offsets. और इसमें discussed ये भी है that government to government agreements and intergovernmental agreements will not have offset clause anymore. Okay, and right now जो deal हुआ है हमारा वो इसी agreement पे हुआ है. And CAG has questioned this. उन्होंने कहा कि भाई आपने offset वाला इसमें clear नहीं है. Okay, so CAG is a body which audits all these things. It has questioned and it said that offset clause remove कर दिया गया है. Government is claiming that offset clause जब remove करेंगे तो cost comes down. Okay, and that is what we are looking at. See, there's one more problem. The countries do not want to share the technology. Technology sharing जो होता है ना, वो कोई share करना नहीं चाहता है, because technology are created with lot of effort, lot of planning, lot of resources. So nobody wants to share the technology, and everybody wants to maintain the monopoly. Okay, so these are the problems. You can read the offset one, and this is the last topic for the day: Jal Jeevan Mission. So what is Jal Jeevan Mission? So Ministry of Water has launched this. So it is the most ambitious project of the current Modi government. They want to ensure pipe water supply to all the rural household by 2024. आप सोचो कि आपके घर में pipe water पहुंचे rural area में. If I tell you about my village, I think 80% of the houses do not have pipe water supply. They have to travel and take water from the nearby hand pump and all. Okay, so maybe if the pipe water comes to your house, nothing like that, right? Because water is the most important thing. Then integrate demand and supply side management at local level, coverage with other central and state government schemes, and creation of local infrastructure for reuse of wastewater in agriculture. See, the problem is that water is a very scarce resource, and India is one of the country where हमारे पास water कम है. See, broadly there are two kind of water. One is the surface water, and of course the underground water. Surface water is the most biggest source, but surface water is from rivers, rainfall, and the underground water, जो है वो, it has through hundreds of years, thousands of years of recharging, millions of years recharging, जो है वो underground, rocks में कहीं ना कहीं are there. So we use this underground water, but the problem is that underground water, cannot be replenished, and surface water is going through a change. We are witnessing climate change. The population is increasing, and that is where we need a better planning of water. We need better planning of the land resources. We need to ensure that whatever water we have, it should be managed. But water is a basic right of every individual. हमको आपको नहीं पता चलता because हम भी relatively belong to the income group where we don't face daily crisis. Ask somebody who does not have access to water. Ask somebody who does not have access to electricity properly. We are sitting in a room, we have attached toilets, we never found a problem. One day अगर पानी 2 घंटा के लिए नहीं आता है तो and we have so much to blame to the Jal board, the water bodies. Okay, so that is what, so this mission is about finding a sustainable solution to the water, giving access to the water, and it wants to involve local level Gram Panchayat and Pani Samitis in the mission. Okay, so right now under Jal Jeevan Mission for ensuring safe water through tap water connection in school, Anganwadi centers and healthcare centers. So यहाँ सब जगह water पहुँचना चाहिए in the next 100 days. That is what it currently they want. That is school, Anganwadi, healthcare centers. These facilities will be operated and maintained by Gram Panchayat or its sub-committee, Village Water and Sanitation Committee or Pani Samiti. Okay, and we all know that it is a universal coverage. It wants to focus and ensure that the water reaches every household, and there is a time in which water should be available, and the special focus should be on women and children. Okay, so that is Jal Jeevan Mission. It is the most ambitious mission, And these small little things make a huge difference in common people's life. Okay, if this mission becomes successful, I will tell you, and you can mark my words today, that if this mission is successful, you can't stop Mr. Modi to coming again to power tomorrow. Because water is so important for small income group people. Because even today, I would say that more than half of India does not have access to pipe water connection. You go to urban areas, you go to rural areas, you'll see the problem of water. Now, fortunately, some areas of India have surplus water, but still आपके घर में pipe water नहीं पहुंचा हुआ है. Okay, so these are the things. So you can look at these questions are there. So that is all for today, guys. Thank you very much. If you have any question, you can ask me. Then I'll close for the day. Any questions, guys? Okay, so Deepika has a question.